From around the Big Sky and your local hometown news station, this is Montana Right Now.
Tonight, thousands of Montanans are trying to stay dry as severe flooding continues across much of the Treasure State. Roads have been washed out, bridges have been overtaken by rising waters. Right now, officials with the Department of Transportation, the Department of Emergency Services, and local law enforcement are out monitoring the situation and keeping people off the flooded roads.
We have crews positioned around central Montana tonight. Tavarius Haywood is standing by in Sun River. Bliss Zeckman is live from Helena, and our Rachel Crow Spreading Wings joins us from Augusta. Lewis and Clark County officials have been busy there in Augusta monitoring the situation and making sure that residents are safe.
Our Rachel Crow Spreading Wings spent the day in town and explains just how dangerous these floodwaters are.
As you can see, the water is just raging down Main Street, and I'm only on the sidewalk, and I can feel the power of this water just rushing over my feet. Community members are filling hundreds of sandbags to help redirect the water.
So I think about probably 7:30. It was pretty clear that the creek had overtopped its banks upstream of town and was coming into town for sure.
Was your house at risk right now, or are you?
My house at risk, yeah. The creek has come to us.
He says last night they saw almost 7 inches of water. Lewis and Clark County Deputy Jerome Steiner says overnight rain could raise the floodwaters even higher.
Right now, you cannot get into the town of Augusta. We only want locals here. All the traffic that you see on the roads are people that are running sandbags or going to help our locals. But if you're driving from Choteau south on 287 to get to Augusta, you'll have to turn around at Highway 21.
Adding roads are washing out, so be careful because things can change fast. Right now, they're working on a place for people to stay who can't get home. He says the areas and buildings they could use are underwater. There are reports of one bridge that has been taken out by the floodwaters near the junction of Highway 21 and 287. Right now, there's no telling how much damage will be done by the floodwaters as they continue to rise overnight. Reporting in Augusta, I'm Rachel Crow, Spreading Wings, Montana Right Now.
Now, Rodeo Chairman Ben Arp says the rodeo grounds in Augusta are currently underwater. A decision on whether or not the rodeo will continue as planned will be made on Thursday.
And moving further east along Highway 21, we head to Sun River, where folks are being told to prepare for the worst as the waters continue to rise, hitting levels that haven't been seen since 2011. Homes, farms, land, and roads along and near the Sun River will be flooded. Residents are being told to prepare. Our Tavarius Haywood is live in Sun River. Tavarius, you spoke with several people who have lived along the river their whole lives. What are they doing to get ready?
Yeah, Taylor, residents have been busy traveling back and forth to the Vaughn Fire Department to get sandbags, while others are staying right here in Sun River, going door to door to make sure others are safe. Residents have been going door to door since they heard that floodwaters were on the rise.
Over there, they're double stacked.
Okay. Dorothy Alpine has been living in this home for over 50 years. She told me off camera that she has been staying with her son, Steve Alpine, for the past 3 weeks because of the last flooding event. She had only been back at home for a week before having to leave again. Steve says he's grateful to have avoided major damages over the years.
In '75, we had 18 inches. Since then, we've been fortunate to only have it get up into the floor joist one time.
He says that even though this is not the worst they've seen, they've always prepared as if it is.
Get everything upstairs that's small that we can take upstairs on the second floor. Then we start taking things out in the garage and stacking them up high on the benches, and I'll get all the beds covered with things, hoping it doesn't get up into that high.
Dorothy told me off camera that if it wasn't for people helping her, she wouldn't know what to do other than call her insurance company. But the family is now asking for a little divine help that it doesn't get any worse.
We're kind of used to this. We've been praying that it wouldn't happen. Lord's blessed us so far, but we'll take whatever we get.
Now, according to the National Weather Service, portions of northwest Cascade County will remain under a flood warning until further notice. In the meantime, if you do come in contact with flooded roads, do not attempt to cross. Also, In Shoto, the Red Cross will be offering shelter for those in need at 7 o'clock. For more information, head over to KFBB.com. For now, reporting live in Sun River, I'm Tavares Haywood from Montana Right Now.
Sticking with our flood coverage, we move to the capital city, which hasn't been spared by any of the flooding. For the second time in 2 months, several residential areas are filling up with flood water. Our Bliss Zeckman is live at McHugh Lane, and where waters are making it difficult for some people to get out of their driveway. Bliss, many residents thought they were done with the flooding, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Ty, they thought it was over last month when the county decided to dismantle a beaver dam on 10 Mile Creek to help the water flow through there. But overnight, the water is back, and in some areas, it's waist deep. When Irene Strauss journeyed on her daily walk this morning, some areas started to collect water, but there was nothing too serious. So she kept heading north on McHugh. But when she started to turn home, it was a completely different scene.
And by the time I came back, there were a good 2-3 inches of water running over McHugh. So I got sopping wet coming home because that's the only way to come home.
The National Weather Service says 10 Mile Creek has had high elevation levels for a couple of days now. In the wee hours of the morning, the creek probably spilled over, which is causing this mess. But residents have their own suspicions.
It was crazy how fast it came up, and it seems kind of hard to believe that it's just from water, so from the rain. So I'm wondering if maybe it's not melting some of the upper snow levels too and bringing them down.
NWS says it's likely the situation is going to get worse before it gets better. More rain is expected to pour down today. But the sun's coming out tomorrow, which should clear off some of the water on the road. But that doesn't help the residents who say they have 4 feet of water standing in their basements.
I don't think they're going to have a normal summer this year, because here we are at the end, getting towards the end of June, and it's still coming down like this. It's crazy.
Luckily, Strauss's home hasn't been hit by the floods just yet, but she's on the lookout. She and her family have lived in the area for more than 5 years now, and she says she's never seen such persistent and devastating floods. These folks behind me here have had to rebuild their driveway 4 times just this year. They thought that they were done, but it looks like they're going to have to call the construction crews yet again. Live in Helena, I'm Bliss Zeckman, Montana Right Now. I'll send it back to you.
All right, now with all of this flooding, the question on everyone's mind is, when will it end? Chief Meteorologist Ted King is standing by. Ted, any clear answer for us?
Well, yeah, actually, we're going to get a bit of a break tomorrow. Okay, so some good news there. And boy, I'll tell you what, some pretty serious stuff out there. On Saturday alone, some areas near the Rocky Mountain front saw up to 4 inches plus of rain. That was Saturday alone. So, and then there's today. But anyway, there is more weather, I'm afraid, in the 7-day forecast. But first, let's step outside, show you what's going on. You probably get a pretty good guess here. Lots of clouds, still some rain happening here in the Great Falls area. But the rain will end overnight tonight. There'll be areas of fog. Temps mostly in the 40s. Hey, some sunshine. I think that deserves an exclamation point for tomorrow. Still a chance for a shower. And then Thursday, thunderstorms are possible, particularly later in the day, but more on all that in a little bit. Still some flood advisories, flood warnings out for parts of the region, parts of central Montana up towards the Rocky Mountain front and on the other side of the divide. Big Sky Viper radar shows the counterclockwise swirl, upper level area of low pressure responsible for the rain right now. There are your highs well below average for today, and the forecast lows tomorrow morning 40s and low 50. Currently we're at 58 with the rain here in Great Falls, and Helena right now overcast 59 degrees. 7-day forecast coming up in a little while. Ty?
All right, Ted, we'll see you soon. An update to a story we first brought to you on our website, KFBB.com. A group of hikers had to be airlifted out of the Scapegoat Wilderness early this morning after they couldn't cross the Dearborn River thanks to floodwaters. The Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office received the call for the group around 8 Monday night. They were able to contact authorities via satellite phone. The group was traveling with an outfitting group to enjoy some horseback riding and camping. The Sheriff's Office says the rain and water washed out their campsites and the group was stranded. 2 Bear Air was called in to assist and airlift them out. The Lewis and Clark Sheriff's Department urges anyone going out into the state's wilderness to be prepared for the changing weather.
Look ahead to the weather if you could, and just be wary of where you're at, because we've had a couple of people that ended up getting turned around and lost also. So.
Now, as we mentioned, the group was airlifted to Augusta. We're told no one was injured, but 3 of the outfitters did stay back with the horses until they were able to get out.
In military news, it's a historic day at Malmstrom Air Force Base as one commander passes on a flag signifying a change of leadership. Our Katie Tursik is outside the gates of Malmstrom with the full story.
Inside these gates at Malmstrom Air Force Base, Colonel Reeves has taken over command of the 341st Missile Wing. Through an exchange of 8 words, Colonel Jennifer Reeves is now responsible for over 3,000 airmen at Malmstrom.
I feel so honored to be associated with this amazing group of professionals. And when I feel honor, I do everything I can to continue to earn it.
It was an emotional speech from the commander, who comes from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, another base well known for its nuclear capabilities.
Wing 1 has truly been the highlight of my life to be your Ace 1.
I spoke with outgoing Commander Colonel Allen yesterday as he reflects on his last 2 years in Great Falls.
Our biggest achievement during this time is just continuing what's been going on here at Malmstrom since October of 1962. We've been on continuous alert, providing nuclear deterrence for this nation.
Colonel Allen leaves for his next mission in Washington, D.C., but before he left, he shared these words of wisdom for Colonel Reeves.
The most important thing here is to always respect the mission and then respect the airmen that are accomplishing the mission. And if you can do both of those things, success is always easy to come.
Colonel Reeves does not get any downtime. As a matter of fact, she actually started today when the flag was handed over to her. For more information on Colonel Reeves, you can check out our website. In Great Falls, Katie Tursik, Montana, right now.
All right, when a vehicle crashes into a building, naturally, there's always a lot of questions.
Yeah, but the question on one Washington family's mind, where was the driver when it happened to us? Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
A Washington family is reeling after a runaway truck slammed into their house. And that's not even the most surreal part. The truck had no driver at the time of the crash.
I heard the clang coming down the hill, and by the time it got to that driveway, I said, he can't stop, get out.
Karen Cooper and her 5 grandchildren were home when the accident happened. Miraculously, no one was injured.
I was worried about the driver. I thought he was dead because I couldn't see him. And then these construction workers came running down the street and said, there's no driver, there's no driver.
Authorities had to deal with a fuel leak from the truck as well as structural concerns with the home. They're now trying to determine if the accident was caused by human error or a mechanical failure. New Yorkers were buzzing after thousands of surprise visitors took over Times Square. NYPD officials say nearly 20,000 bees swarmed a police camera at 42nd and Broadway. The department called in their official beekeeper, yes, he is a thing, and he safely removed the bees for relocation. The department later tweeted that no one was injured and no bee was left behind. Just a week earlier, a huge swarm gathered outside NYPD's 1st precinct in Lower Manhattan. Is there a pollinator police pattern forming? Could be. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Just trying to find out what all the buzz was about. No, but
the bee puns.
Yes.
Come on.
Gotta keep them coming. How about that truck? We've done stories about the Ubers with the no drivers, and that's scary stuff.
That's terrifying. I couldn't imagine being that grandmother. You could tell she was shaking even in the interview, so I'm glad that everyone is safe and okay.
Absolutely. So reminder, get a driver if you have Uber and if you have trucks. I hope they have a driver.
Or on construction sites, all of the above.
Just have a driver. All right, still to come. Don't let the wet, rainy conditions fool you. Fire season is expected to be above average this year. After the break, we explain why some volunteer fire departments have to battle more than